Hi, my name is Nicole, and this is the CK Diary Podcast. I hope you guys are doing well. It has been a good and busy week. I wanted to say, first of all, I don't think you can hear it. I tested it to make sure first, but my neighbor picked up their leaf blower right as I turned on my camera. So you might be able to hear a little bit of background noise, but I don't think it'll be a problem. All right, so anyway, let's see, it was Labor Day weekend. We had a lot of stuff going on this weekend that I'll talk more about later. But overall, it was a really great weekend. I got some making in, not as much as I thought I was going to get done, because as you guys know, I have that Autumn Melody collab coming up here soon. And I've been working on the bags for that. I worked on the bags for that this weekend some. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the Autumn Melody collab first. These are the bags for it. This is the midi bag. And this is the mini bag. This would be perfect for one skein projects or a skein and a mini or a few minis. If you were making like scrappy socks or making a mitten or a hat, something of that nature. And then this one would be good for projects that are a little bit bigger. I know that for my midi bags, it was perfect for my son's sweaters. This would probably work for an adult sweater up to a certain point, but this probably wouldn't be big enough for, well, I don't know. I held my poncho in a midi bag, so maybe it would be good for an adult sweater size. Certainly not a blanket, not quite that big. The beginnings of a blanket, but not a full-sized blanket. All right, let's see. So I'll go ahead and talk about whips. Let me start with my Autumn Melody yarn. So my Autumn Melody collab is with Stitchin with Yarn, Christy from Stitchin with Yarn, and she dyed a beautiful sock set to go with it. I believe I showed that to you guys last week. Let me go ahead and pull all of the yarn out for that. So I caked up most of it this weekend. These are the colors. These are both 20 gram minis, and then this is a 100 gram full skein. They are really, really beautiful, and they match the bag so well. The black and the orange are just spot on for the bag. They're beautiful. So I have decided with my sock set, I am going to be making I'm looking at my notes over here. It is called the Pearl Pouch by Tori Yu. I'll post a picture of what it looks like fully done, like one of the ones from Tori Yu's project page. But right now, I just have one of the I-cords in the works. So you make 2 I-cords for the drawstrings, and then you make the rest of the bag. So I've just started on one of the drawstrings so far. This is the first time I've ever done I guess you would call it a traditional I-cord. I've done an I-cord bind off, and I've done a built-in I-cord, but I've never done an actual I-cord. And it's super simple. If you've never done one, all you do is you cast on 3 stitches. I'm using circular needles. So you cast on 3 stitches, and then you scoot it all the way over to the other end, to the other needle, and then you knit it. And then again, you scoot it all the way over to the other needle and you knit it. And it has been super easy and super fun. And I made that, it has to be, well, I don't know if I should say how many inches long, but I've only done 8 inches so far, and it took me not that long. We were watching a movie. It just took me a few minutes. I was just trying it out while we were watching the movie. All right, let's see. Next up to show you is my June top by Petite Knit. I am using the Polka Dot Creek natural sock yarn held double with Malabrigo sock yarn in Aladdin. I love the way it's turning out so far. I have to knit this for a few more inches. I've just been working on this. I was working on my husband's sweater the other night, and I ended up dropping a stitch, And so I set that aside while we were watching our movie, and I just picked this up because this is just stocking it in the round, super easy. I don't really have to pay a whole lot of attention to it. All right, and let's see what else I've been working on. The next thing I worked on this weekend was my Coziest Memories sweater, or my Coziest Memories blanket. This is what got the majority of my attention this weekend. We were in the car a lot. We were driving a lot. We watched a lot of movies in the afternoon and the evenings. We watched a couple of movies with my boys this weekend. We don't usually get to watch movies with the boys. My oldest son is very cautious. I don't want to say he's scared. He just doesn't like, because he's not scared, he just doesn't like watching mean things. So when we tried to watch Cars with him, and when Lightning McQueen fell off the back of the truck, it made him really sad. So he asked if we could watch something else. We tried to watch Finding Nemo, and the whole beginning of that movie with Nemo's mom getting killed by the shark, or the big fish, whatever it was, he just doesn't like that stuff. It makes him sad, and he's like, can we please just watch something else? But we finally found some movies this weekend that we could watch with him. So there's the Charlie Brown. We've watched all of the classic Charlie Browns with him, and he loves those. But there was one that was made in 2015, and he loved it. It was so cute. The cartoon is a little different, but they stayed very true to the storyline of Charlie Brown. It was still set back when the original Charlie Browns were made. It was very, very cute. And Dolphin Tale 1 and Dolphin Tale 2, I think they're Disney movies, and they're about the Clearwater, I forget what it's called. It's the Clearwater Aquarium, and it's real. It's in Clearwater, and it is a rehab aquarium. So they take in animals that are hurt, and their whole mission was rescue, rehab, release. And then of course they keep the animals that they can't release, that can't live on their own anymore. But those were really, really cute movies. I was actually really invested in them. Usually during their movies, I'll get up and do a couple of things or whatever, but these movies were really, really good. They were really cute. So while we watched those, I did just work on my Coziest Memories. I got 5 squares done. I was keeping track of what yarn it was and what it was called, but I haven't been. I didn't really care a whole lot to keep track. And it was kind of, I don't know. I just like grabbing and going because most of this stuff is just scraps. So I would have had to go through my labels or whatever it is. So I just went ahead and grabbed and went. Didn't really keep track. So this is the first one that I finished this weekend. And then these 4 along the bottom, I also finished. So I do know that this is a Polka Dot Creek mini just from one of their boxes that they released. I believe they were all one-of-a-kind colorways, so it's not something you could get again anyway. And then these 2 were Emma Yarn minis, but they were just the ones with the number. It wasn't a specific colorway. I think whenever I talk to someone about it, they're from past boxes or mini releases that she did, and they're just leftovers. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what it is. And then this black one is the Stitchin with Yarn mini from the Autumn Melody sock set. And this one's another just unnamed Emma's Yarn mini that I just cast on last night. I want to time, a long time ago whenever I talked about this Coziest Memories blanket, I said it took me 30 minutes to do a square, which can't be true. I feel like it takes me way longer to do it. And I was messaging with one of my friends the other day, and I was like, I think it takes me twice that. But we were in the car yesterday for an hour and a half, and I finished 2 squares. Well, we were probably in the car for a little bit more than an hour and a half, but I wasn't knitting the whole time we were in there. I was handing stuff to the boys and stopping to look at my phone and stopping to talk with my husband. And so I didn't knit the whole time, and I got 2 squares done in less than 2 hours or something like that. So I don't know. I'll need to sit down and time it one day, but it's not that big of a deal. It's not that pressing. And This is a little bag that I have set aside. This has the minis. I lined up, if I can, I'll put a picture in of it. I'm pretty sure I took a picture of it, but I set my Coziest Memories blanket out and I figured out every single skein of yarn that I want to do for the next square. So you can see in my Coziest Memories blanket, what I'm doing is I'm trying to match the square to the squares around it. So this pink is in this square and this yellow is in this square. And then if you look at this square closely, you can see, it's kind of hard to see the pinks, but some of these pinks are in this square and this yellow is in this square and this black is in this square. So I'm trying to match every square that I add, I'm trying to match it to the squares that touch it, which might prove to be a little bit difficult the bigger the blanket gets, but I'm having fun with it right now. And I feel like it makes, even though this is scrappy and kind of chaotic, I feel like matching each square to the square around it gives it some kind of cohesion, I guess. And then these squares are what I have left for the second row. And I did take a picture of it. I'm pretty sure I took a picture of it so that I could remember what yarn was supposed to be next. All right, let's see. The next thing I have to talk to you about is the Wafer Sweater by Liv Olvin. This is the sweater I'm making for my husband. I am using the Knit Picks Superwash Worsted, or the Wool of the Andes Superwash Worsted yarn in Cobblestone Heather. Yeah. And I know last week I was like, I should have a lot more of this sweater done by next week. Didn't happen. I did do I'm trying to think. Right now I'm working on the increases for the yoke. But I did finish, I finished the German short rows. That's what I finished. And it was done in a way that I had never done it before. I've only done short rows one other time, so it's not that hard to have to learn a new skill since I'm still so new to it. But it's turning out good so far. I didn't get quite as much done as I wanted to, but it's because we were on the go so much, and this requires a lot more brain power than the Coziest Memories blanket or my June top, so that is what I was picking up most of the time. I do think I'm gonna have to switch needles soon because this is getting kind of crowded, but I've been enjoying this sweater so far. I'm thinking this will block out quite a bit. I know I talked about it last week that I was kind of worried about the neck, but I think this will block out quite a bit. Oop. Hopefully you guys didn't just hear a ton of static. All right, and let's see. I worked on my temperature blanket. I just feel like since the last time I showed you, there's just not a whole lot done since then. So I just want to wait. I might wait one more week before I show you guys the progress on that. I am done with September, and I think I'm on the 3rd day in October. So I finished September, I did the 2 cream color rows in between the months, and then I started October. And I might show that to you next week if I get a little bit more done. And that is it for projects this week. Like I said, I worked on bags a lot, so I just didn't really get to knit a whole lot. After this bag drop, after the Autumn Melody bag drop, I will be releasing bags here and there, just like one-of-a-kind bags of fabric that I have left over. But I probably won't do another big drop of matching bags of the same bag until closer to Christmas. I'll probably do some Christmas bags then, just so I can get caught up on some knitting and find fabric that I really, really love. All right, so I thought I'd talk to you about life stuff a little bit, about Labor Day weekend. My husband took off on Friday, and then he had off on Monday, and we were going to go to Hilton Head. We reserved a house, but we never got a confirmation, like an Airbnb. We rented an Airbnb for the weekend. And we were waiting for the confirmation email to come through, and it never did. So my husband messaged the person that we rented the house from, and he was like, hey, just wondering, we never got our confirmation email. We're just wondering if, we have the house or not. And the person messaged us back a few hours later and said that it had been booked through a different app. So unfortunately, we did not get to go to Hilton Head, but we made the best of the weekend. It ended up being a really great weekend. On Friday, we just hung out around the house. We got the boys this blow up water slide thing. It's one of those bouncy houses. It's really small, but it has a bouncy house, and then it has a slide, and it has a little pool that the slide goes into. And then there's another small pool around the back. And it's a little bounce house. And the boys could spend hours and hours on that. So that was fun. And then on Saturday, we went to Marineland. My oldest son has been all about sharks and dolphins and water creatures. If you have a young child, we watch What Sam Sees on YouTube. I think it's a Discovery show, and he loves it. It's all about underwater and marine life and all of those kinds of things, and he absolutely loves it. And so that was really neat to bring him to. Marineland's pretty small, but they have a little tour that you can walk through, and they show you a few different things. They have like a Megalodon shark teeth, not exhibit, but it's a little table with a ton of Megalodon shark teeth on it. And those teeth get to be bigger than my hand. So those were pretty neat. I say get to be, they're extinct, but some of the teeth are bigger than the size of my hand. And then they just had other little sea creatures, little fish, little sea urchins, turtles, stuff like that. And that was really neat. And then they have a big dolphin show. They call it Dolphin Talk. And that one, my boys love that. They had a shark show, but it was blazing on Saturday. It was so hot. It was so sunny. There was no cloud coverage. And the spot, they had like this little tiny shade, a little tiny awning covering right at the edge of the shark tank. And people had been waiting there, waiting for the show to start. So we didn't get a good seat, and my kids couldn't see in the pool, so they didn't really care about it. So we left. We went and looked at their turtles a little bit, and then we went to, what was after that? That may have been when we went to the dolphin show, was after the shark show. But it was a really cute morning. And then we hopped over to a park that was about 15 minutes away. It was a huge playground splash pad area. I say splash pad, but I feel like you can't even call it that because it was huge. It was like this massive splash pad that older kids could enjoy. And then there were these little water hoops that you could run through to get to the small splash pad that was more well suited for my 2 and 4-year-old. But that was so much fun. The park was huge and it was beautiful, and they had a lot of cool stuff out there, but it was just so hot. The kids they had like the plastic grass out there, so the grass was hot, and the boys just couldn't really enjoy playing on anything because it was just so dang hot. And then on Sunday, it was another just around the house day. We pulled out the water table and the bounce house water slide thing again for them. And they, like I said, they could stay out there for hours. So we had fun doing that. And then on Monday, we went to Amelia Island, and they have this really cute small town, downtown type area, which is my favorite. One of my favorite things to go do is look at small town, downtown type areas. Franklin, Tennessee, we've gone there, and I love that. There's a few of them. I know Asheville's a little bit bigger, but that still gives me the small town, downtown type feel. We went to, I believe it was in Clarksville, Georgia. They have a little small town downtown, and just so cute. I'm not a big city person. I don't like it whenever things are too crowded or there's too many people around. So these are perfect, just little, most of the time they have those little stone walkways, and they have the little tiny businesses, the small mom and pop shops. There was an antique store out there in Amelia Island, which I don't think I've ever been inside of an antique store before, because I feel like they can be a little overwhelming, but this one was big, but it was really well organized, and it was really beautiful, and they had a lot of really neat stuff in there. I was looking for a vintage sewing basket type thing. I've seen a few of those recently, and I really like them, so I've been keeping my eyes peeled. But I didn't see one that they had, but they did have a lot of neat stuff in there. And then we went to, there's a couple of beaches on Amelia Island that are rich in shark teeth for some reason. I don't know. We tried looking it up, like why some beaches have more shark teeth than others, but I couldn't really find anything about it. But we found 2 shark's teeth, one for each of our boys, and that was neat. But it was just overall a really great weekend. The boys did unfortunately get sick. Throughout last week, my oldest son started sleeping longer at night. They both sleep through the night, but he would fall asleep really quick, which he usually doesn't. And then he would sleep until like 8 o'clock in the morning, which is crazy for him. And so well, not crazy, but he usually sleeps until like 7. So he was sleeping an extra hour and falling asleep probably an extra hour early. So I thought something might be going on, but they both woke up this morning super stuffy. And they were super stuffy last night, but they both were troopers through the weekend. They had great attitudes and we had a lot of fun. But that is all I really have to talk to you guys about this week. Hopefully I'll be a little bit further along in the sweater next week. I think it was last week or the week before, I was like, I'm really just wanting to work on one project at a time. And here I am with a million projects going. And that usually is how it goes for me. I did want to mention one more thing. I showed this yarn. Where did I put it? Let me go find that. So I showed this yarn a couple weeks ago, I think. This is the Fangirl Fibers Gilmore Girls collection. This is just one of the skeins from it. And I got Oi with the Poodles already. This is a sock yarn. I was thinking about making another one of those pearl pouches by Tori Yu. I think Pearl Soho has a cute little drawstring pouch too, but I don't know. But I'm going to cast something on with this week for Leah Gibson's Knit People Knit Cow. That started on September 1st. I'll post her information down below so you can go join that knit along if you want to. I believe the rules are that you have to knit either a Gilmore Girls related pattern or with a Gilmore Girls yarn. I feel like I'm missing something, but like I said, I'll go link the information for that down below so that you guys can join along if you'd like to. I'm excited for that. I think this would make, I just love the pinks and the greens. I think this would make a really cute little drawstring pouch. All right, or I could do some of the Nitty Natty yarn cozies. I don't know, I'll have to think about that. Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for chatting with me today, and I cannot wait to talk to you next week. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Bye.